Yeah, it's working, I think. Yeah, it's working. Nice. Yeah, it's working. Is this too distracting? Yeah, it's working. Nice. Yeah, it's working. Is this too distracting? Yeah, it's working. Cool. This should be the best link to use. Since it took a little longer to get this ready, I think we'll wait a little bit then. Especially since this is a really important one. Can you guys tell me in the chat if the music's too distracting? I could turn it off. I thought, I don't know, it was really awkwardly silent yesterday, so I kind of want to add it this time. Anyone? Keep it. Keep it, says Sabrina. Okay, we're gonna keep it. Is it soothing? Is it creating that vibe? Good vibes? Because I dig it. Let's see. Haley commented. Stephanie Lee. It's so cute. Oh, it's cute because the bee. That's it. The bee's cute. Let's see. Mixtape 5 out of 7. Okay, Andrew. 5 out of 7. I know that meme. That's a good meme. Haley is old, but I'm glad she's here. Is the music like distracting or anything like that? Like, you guys can hear me talking, right? And that's fine? Haley says no. She's not your mama. 11 watching. No awkward silences. No awkward silences. This is the ambiance, the music. I'm digging this. Just wait a little bit more because I feel like not enough people are watching. Karen Lay says devil horns. Ooh. Unbelievably awkward. Shut up, Karen. I will wait till 8:05. Entertain me in the chat. Yeah, let's have fun. I'm so bored. Just gonna get ready. I think I have everything ready. This one should go pretty smoothly. I think this presentation is like a little long, but the actual material is not too hard, so it shouldn't be that bad. This one's very important though. Oh, I'm digging this. Aw, Frank Sinatra Jr. died. That sucks. Mm-hmm. 13, only 13 watching. LTE Calvin, tell us a joke. Karen Lay's term. Everyone trashed in Division 27 North. She's the only one in the comments. This is so bad. The grizzlies are so cute. What time is it now? Okay, one more minute and then we'll start because more people are here. And hopefully you guys will ask questions today because I want questions. Questions are good. Okay, 8:05. Okay, so we're finally gonna start the secretary workshop. So thank you guys for attending. Same rules apply to the other day. Just try not to spam the chat too much, but be sure to have questions because I can answer a lot of questions about this. And yesterday was pretty dead, but I want a lot of questions today. We're just going to be going over the duties of the secretary, and there are a lot of duties, but I will be focusing a lot on the MRF file because, as you guys know, as secretary, you will be needing to fill out the monthly report form, and it can seem a little scary, and a lot of people are kind of like turned off by it, like, oh god, it's a form you have to turn in every month, but it's really not that bad, and I'll help you get through it, and I will tell you the keys to getting through all of it, so it should be okay. So secretary workshop, going above and beyond. Your role as club secretary, main responsibilities. So this kind of has like this giant wall of text of what will be your responsibilities. I'll try to go through them and then I'm trying to elaborate on all the points. So weekly, attend all club and board meetings, record minutes during meetings, attend club and division events, create event sign-up sheets for service projects, fundraisers, and socials, communicate with members, officers, and advisors, record member service hours, and update and organize files and records. So this seems like a lot, but typically you will see your secretary doing this now, and it's very normal stuff. So you'll be attending club and board meetings. You should be doing this anyway. Representing your club, making sure you know who's at your meetings, especially taking a roll call at your or not a roll call, but counting how many people are at your meetings, things like that. Recording minutes during meetings. So things that happen on the agenda and things that are talked about, things that are discussed, things that are brought up, you want to take note of, and you can collect the minutes and you could record them officially, and so people can use them later. Attend club and division events. So as a club officer, it's not just about behind the scenes work, even though a lot of secretary work is kind of like typing, a lot of writing, things like that. But you want to you want to have a presence in the club, and you want to make sure that you're representing your club in the best way possible, especially at division events. Create event sign-in sheets for service project funders and socials. So if you want to get a better idea of who's actually going to your service projects and who's going to your fundraisers, so you know ahead of time, you want to create sign-up sheets, or you want to make Facebook events, things like that, to get a better idea so you can record hours more effectively, which will be one of your duties. Communicate with members, officers, and advisors. So communication is a large part of being secretary. When you're filling out the form, you kind of want to get the input of everyone and make sure that you're doing it correctly and you're doing the best way possible. So just communication with everyone is just a very important topic. Record member service hours. So many clubs do this differently. You will be doing this maybe on a Google Sheet. You may be doing this in your MRF, but I suggest doing both. So when you are recording member service hours, I would definitely put it inside the service record tab inside the MRF. So there is a tab for it, and I would update that, because if you don't, sometimes you can mess up some scores of your club and things like that. So you may want to do that. And update and organize files and records. So it's just about staying organized, making sure you keep track of all the things that you're in charge of, and being sure that you turn in your MRF in time, things like that. Monthly. So submit monthly report form by the last day of every month to your last day of every month. What? That's silly. Oh, so this is from another division, so it's a little different. What we do in Division 2 is we have it submitted on the 1st of every single month before 6 p.m. So before 6 p.m. on the 1st of every month, you want to be able to have a completed MRF for that month, go as far as you can for that month, and then submit it to your Lieutenant Governor. You're going to want to send it to your board as well, CC your advisors, your faculty and quantity advisor, and our region advisor, which I will tell you more about later. Monthly, you're going to want to attend a division council meeting, so every month we should be having one. Usually Division 2 doesn't really skip any DCMs, and not only are they good to stay updated on what's going on in the division and kind of keeping your club represented at these events, but you want to have a great time. Meet the members you serve, meet the other officers that you're planning things with and working alongside, and just socialize with the division. And provide service hour updates for members. So this can come in the form of Google Sheets. Comes in really handy for the members to access it. You can also do it in your MRF, and I would do it in the MRF. Annually, collaborate with club board to create goals and effective plans for the year. So at the beginning of the term, you're going to want to create goals and see where your club is going to go in the next year. So when you start your term soon, you're going to think about where do you want to see your club jump to in the next term. What do you think we can achieve? What do you think will look like in the next year? And that's a very, very important topic. Compile club roster of the club treasurer. So you want to check and see who has paid their club dues. This is important because if you do not pay your club dues, your hours will not count. So you need to check with your club treasurer, either your current or upcoming one, to check who is on the club roster for your club, and make sure that you reflect that effectively. Reflect that on your MRF. So attend OTC, RTC, Fall Rally, District Convention, and other important events. So depending on what you're able to go to, you should try to go to as many of these as you can. Sometimes they may cost some money, but in all honesty, these are the best events you will have throughout the entire year. They can be a little stressful for officers, but it's very important to attend OTC and RTC for the purpose of learning new things. Fall Rally to represent your division, to celebrate the funds you've raised for your pediatric trauma program and beyond, and be with the members. District Convention to kind of end your term on the best note possible, learn new things, and hopefully transition into the next term smoothly. And other important events, icons coming up, things like that. Little bigger opportunities, but those are also important events. Submit the annual achievement report to LTG at the end of the year. So within your MRF, there is a tab called the annual achievement report, and if you do things in your MRF correctly, this will add up a possible score for your club that will be reflected to the district to see what you qualify for recognition. So this is important to get your club recognized. Okay, so complete the online 2015-2016, or in this case 2016-2017 club officer information on the cyber key. So I will provide that inside the chat right now. So this is very important. You may want to take note of this, and you may want to copy this link down yourself so you could do it later. So here in this link, you will be submitting your new officer information about your club and saying that it's new for this term, and that just these are the officers for your club, so that the district has contact information for you. So as soon as possible, please fill out that Google form. It's very important for secretaries to complete that. I'll also post in the comments later on. Submit officer election results to your LTG sponsoring Kiwanis Club and Home Club. So you can work with your president on this, either your current or incoming one, to submit your officer board rosters to mailing. So if you just send it to the do2.cnhkc.ltg Gmail account, your old officers should know what they're doing with that. So definitely communicate with them and make sure that mailing has your contact information for the next board. I know about only 6 clubs have done it so far, so it's very important that you do that. Strive for district tree recognition. So all MRFs submitted on time. So in general, you want to try to submit all your MRFs on time anyway, but in order to apply for recognition, you must meet certain standards, and it's very important to understand those before you start your term. And at the end of the term, train your secretary elect. So at the end, when you're retiring, as your old ones are now, they should be training you, and later on in the term, you will be responsible for training your elects. So do you guys have any questions? And that was a whole wall of text, I understand. If you guys have any questions, definitely say it in the comments, and I will try to adjust them now, especially in this tab, because this was just a lot to take in. Name. No questions? Okay, we're gonna move on then. Next. Okay, communication is key. So club board. They are your main source of communication, and it's important that you have strong relations with each board member. So no matter what, at the end of each term, I always hear about these officer issues. So it's very important to clear it up at the beginning of the term. Understand that you signed up for your position, and you are trying to serve your club to improve it in the future. You may not retain the best relationships. Sometimes you will cross paths and kind of butt heads and things like that. But it's very important to understand like what you're doing and why you're doing it as club secretary. You're being club secretary to improve your club because you love Key Club, and you want to make sure that your club is in the best standing it can be, and if you have officer issues, it may get in the way. So it's always important to communicate with your officer board and make sure that you have strong relations. Members, you'll be recording the you will record the service hours, and you should have a general sense of each of them. So being secretary is one of the jobs where you can get the closest to the members, that and the vice president. So you're gonna want to get to know the members because you're the one who's putting their names on your MRF, you're putting their service hours down, everything about them, things like that. So it's good to get to know them while you're doing that. So you can put a name to a face and things like that, and it's just a really good way to improve your memory skills with people and just public speaking skills. Advisors are there to help you. Advisors have so many years of experience, and they will be able to lend a helping hand. Most of our Kiwanis advisors, especially, you probably noticed that they're very reliable, and they're often there for us, so that's great. And they're going to help you answer questions and keep track of the members. So it's just important to use them as a resource, not only for chaperoning help, but questions in general. Past secretary. So if you need help with the MRF, and like I said, the MRF can be very confusing, feel free to ask your past secretaries. The secretaries this term are actually very, very good. I'm very happy to work with them. And out of all the officers, me, the lieutenant governor, I probably work with them the most. And it was very nice to see how they've grown throughout the term, and they will do an excellent job training you if you ask them. So if you need help, don't be afraid to reach out. Lieutenant governor. Right now that's me, and Mei Ling will be the next lieutenant governor, and on the 2016-2017 term. So you're going to be submitting your monthly report forms to Mei Ling, and which keeps track of the service hours for the division and the money fundraiser and meetings event held. So this is just your monthly report form is basically telling the lieutenant governor, telling the district how are we doing as a club, what are we doing this month that's different from last month. what's our progress looking like on improving our club and things like that. So it's very important that you accurately fill out your MRF so your lieutenant governor can determine what they can do best to serve you. And district executives, so answer questions and are your support. So district executives are kind of high up there, but it's always good to remember that they're still only high school students that are serving the district. So this includes the district governor, district secretary, and district treasurer, and they are elected positions on the district level. They can seem kind of intimidating, but if you ask them a question, I am sure that they will be free to answer you. Like this year, District Secretary Amir did an amazing job of reaching out to not only members, but lieutenant governors and everyone else, and it's just his open personality really helped with that. So if you need any help whatsoever, don't be afraid to ask advisors. I'm not gonna answer Karen's question because she's in LTG. Okay, gotta move on because it's pretty quick. Meeting minutes. So minutes are basically, like I mentioned before, just taking notes during meetings and saying what did we talk about on the agenda, what was discussed and brought up, and people can utilize them in the future so that we could refer to them later. So record meetings for every club and board meeting. So the general club meetings where you have with all the members there, be sure to write down what was discussed and type it out and things like that. And board meetings. So when you're talking key club business, when you're talking what events are we going to plan in the near future, what do we plan on doing for a fundraiser next, who's going to these events, who's going to DCMs, things like that. Record these things and keep ideas so you can always refer back to them. Minutes is always about having them on record so you can refer to them later. And keep your minutes organized and backed up in your files. So, like I said, I highly suggest if you write them, you may want to copy them down and type them again, so you have them backed up in your files so you can utilize them later. And you should include date, time, location, who's holding and adjourning the meeting. So typically it's going to be president, the vice president, it could be any officer. Stick to the facts, no personal opinions. So you want to just say what they said. It's kind of just a record of what was said during the time of this meeting. Consistent grammar, so it's easy to understand, and you're going to send it to the club board. Reporting service hours accurately in the monthly report form. Oh no, the monthly report form is so scary. That's terrifying. Okay, so what counts as service? This is also to the discretion of the club oftentimes, but let's just discuss this right now. So working at service events, working at fundraisers, book drives, food drives, event preparation planning, workshop presentation, and planning. So this all count for service hours. And for the most part, you will understand that. You will know what sticks out to you as what qualifies as service hours. But some things don't really count as service hours. So attendance at meetings shouldn't count as service hours. So if you go to a club meeting, that doesn't, like, those 30 minutes don't count as a service hours. Going to fall rally, decon, officer training conference are all supplemental, but they should not be counted as service hours because you voluntarily went out to there and you went out there to have not only a good time but an educational experience. Same thing applies for RTC or key leader, unless an event happens simultaneously. So sometimes you will have a service event tied to these events, but if not, these two events should not count for service hours. Socials, parties, dances, and banquets, so just kind of social events in general, I think you all know that those don't count as service hours. And travel time. So if you have any questions on what is a service hour, it is a pretty basic topic that you could ask most people about. They do have a guide on the CyberKey for it. Keeping track. Utilize sign-in sheet and service hours form. You can find those on the CyberKey as well. Definitely utilize this in any way you want to. Sometimes people have them taped up on the wall during service events or just have them on a table, things like that. So you can keep track of who is interested in attending an event. And like I said, you can use Facebook as well. That's pretty good. And it's just to make sure you keep track of who's attending events and who to give hours to and to make sure that they go to those events. Set deadlines for members to submit service hour logs. So this is different from club to club. A lot of times, and most of the times for our division at least, secretaries do record the individual member service hours, but sometimes members will have these logs, like kind of like in elementary school, I guess, where they had reading logs. It's like service hours logs. So when they go to a service event, they fill out the log, and then they're gonna give it to the club secretary to submit in her MRF or his or her MRF. So that's an option. Oftentimes in the past, we just had our own club secretaries just to record individual member hours. So do it as you wish. I suggest doing it yourself so you get a better knowledge of who you're serving as club secretary and who the members are. Keep the members updated. So if there's a little hiccup in the office in the hours, or like you see you've reached a goal, like you've reached 500 service hours for this month, definitely let them know. And it's good to keep them motivated to keep going to things and seeing that they're really making an impact. and fill out the MRF throughout the month. So don't just wait till the last day, because that's very unhealthy. You may not fill out to the best of your ability. So don't procrastinate and try to do it throughout the month, especially after you have an event. Right after that event, you may want to go in and fill in the service hours. That's probably the best thing you could do. Make spreadsheets and keep it updated. So like things like this is like a service record. How do they have like the event and like what month it was in, and then the event name, and then it's just saying like who attended these events and how many hours they got for that event. So this could be very useful if you make your own Excel documents or things like that. Monthly report form. This is like scary. So monthly report form is the most sacred file you will handle throughout the year. It's very, very important. I cannot stress how important the MRF is. So it's important to evaluate clubs and thus the district. So like I said earlier, it's your way of communicating to the division. How are we doing and what you can do to help us improve. So it gets sent to the Lieutenant Governor, the sponsoring Kiwanis Club, Kiwanis and faculty advisors, regional advisors, and club officers. And what we started doing in this past year is that you send it to your respective EA soon, too, which will be released in around April or May. So what to do? Fill out the tabs throughout the year and submit by the 1st of each month at 6 p.m. See, that's accurate. I like that. So and after this entire PowerPoint, we're gonna go through the MRF. We're gonna dissect it, and go through every single tab and see what you need to fill in those tabs. Hopefully, it won't take too long. Okay, so member recognition program, I can go over it later, but basically there's this tab inside the Secretary MRF that is the member recognition tab, and it's saying that you put every single club on the club roster. You'll have a certain amount of members and all their names, and throughout the year they're gonna do certain things like attend a DCM, attend a training conference, have a certain amount of service hours, and you're gonna want to record it on this member this member recognition tab, so that they can get recognized at the end of the year. Because the member recognition program is recognizing members for going above and beyond by just doing their normal duties as a member. So if they reach a certain like 50 hours of service and they go to a certain amount of DCMs, go to Kiwanis meetings, things like that, they can apply. They can automatically apply for member recognition. So it's very, very important that you fill this out. Most secretaries this term did not know about this, so I want to introduce early member recognition tab. Very, very, very important. So don't skip on this. Okay, we can go over it later, and it's just saying like the first 3 columns auto transfer from the membership, the dues paid, and the service hours. So these come from different tabs, and they'll automatically go into this tab, so like you don't have to copy it down all again. And it says like it shows the minimum credits you need from each category in order to get this specific form of recognition. Okay, just requirements, things like that. It's out of 13 possible categories. And later on, you'll have a deadline to submit all this stuff to the Lieutenant Governor, who will submit it for you. And you'll be recognized at District Convention and posted on the official CNH Key Club media sites. Distinguished. Okay, so we're finally tying back to end of the year recognition, District Tree recognition. Please let me know if you guys have any questions. I'll hopefully stop and answer them if I can. Okay. So, Distinguished, what is it and why do it? So, it's an e-portfolio, which is kind of like a collection of digital work, which is like PDF files and things like that. And you kind of compile it to make one giant binder or kind of booklet of electronic work. And it includes your past MRFs and minutes, your club directory, and a lot of other things like reflections and what you've done to serve your division and your club. And district contest is judged by the district secretary and the MR committee. So it helps you reflect over the past year, which is one of the best things you could do. When you get to the end and you start to recognize what you've done throughout the term, you got all these fuzzy feelings. You're like, oh, I've done so much for the club. That's very, very important. Be recognized at Decon. So if you get this award, you get to step on stage and get your little medal, and you're like, oh my god, I'm serving my club and things like that. It's so cool. So that's really cool. And set goals in the beginning of the year. So this, by looking at standards now, you can prepare throughout your year to say, what can I achieve to get this award, or what can I achieve that can bring me closer to being distinguished or being really, really outstanding as a secretary. Hope this isn't a lot of information for you guys to take in. Okay, Hal said hey. Okay, thank you, Hal. Okay, So, level, outstanding. So this is one of the levels of recognition, and you need to complete a certain amount of things on this checklist over here that says that you're an outstanding secretary. It's not the highest level of recognition, but it's the level of recognition. So, club in good standing, that means their dues are paid on time, and they're just a healthy club. And meeting attendance at divisional and Kiwanis attendance meetings, Kiwanis meetings. So that means going to certain amount of DCMs and going to a certain amount of Kiwanis, either Kiwanis DCMs or Kiwanis meetings. So there's certain things like that, and I can bring it up later. So distinguish, and the distinguished level must complete the secretary checklist. That means every single item, and proof of attendance that you've completed 50 hours and can participate in the correct number of events in each category. So this is more about attendance and really being there for the club and saying like, what have I done to go above and beyond in the club level. And you're gonna need to create a e-portfolio for this one. So this is a little lengthy, and you're gonna need to compile your work and things like that. And a lot of them should be easy and the things you've already done, but sometimes, like I said, it requires some reflection. MRF, minutes, communication, club director, things you've already done, and just your hard work throughout the year should be easy to get automatically. And dividers. So the most creative part of the e-portfolio. So when you introduce a new section, you're going to create a divider, which is kind of the part where you reflect on things and you kind of make it pretty. It's like a little, like, you know, when you're in a book, you read a novel, and then you come to a new chapter. It's like that, but like imagine all artsy fartsy and having like pictures on it and like having a reflection on the bottom saying what's gonna happen, what I've done this term, things like that. So like it says right here, reflect on the year. Spotlight on service. What is SOSP? Created by the Service Project Committee to promote international and district initiatives, as well as to encourage active participation with organizations and initiatives. It gives clubs the opportunity to showcase their unique service project and positively impact their homes and the schools and community. Okay. So monthly guide. So each month has a different focus that the Service Project Committee does show on this CNH Cyber Key. So every single year, the Service Project Committee on the district level is responsible for creating these monthly initiatives. And if you pay attention during DCMs and mailing asks like, what's this month's service initiative? It's like, it could be March of Dimes, could be the Eliminate Project, could be going outside, I think it was like, I don't remember what they were. But there are a lot of different service initiatives, especially during the summertime, things like that. A large variety, and you may want to focus your service projects around that. And they give you ideas of how to like work with that focus and what you can do to have different service projects that reflect the focus of the month. And if you want to be recognized in the district newsletter, submit projects and pictures so that you can write articles about you can work with the editor to write articles about the service project. You could send pictures through the editor to the district, and submissions are due on the 5th of every month, and then for previous months focus on the Google form. And if you have any pictures, send it to cnhkc.sp@gmail.com. I feel like this is a really underutilized function of the district, and I think it should be utilized more. So as a secretary, if you're helping plan service events, definitely look into planning service events through the monthly service initiative. Look at the bees are holding hands. Tips and resources. So, tips. Stay organized digitally and physically. So, being secretary, you may feel a little cluttered a lot of the times, and you may feel that you don't have a lot of breathing room. You need to kind of like keep yourself gathered, and make sure that you keep everything on a flash drive or in a computer in one organized place so you can find it super easily. And deadlines is super, super important. You're going to need to get these deadlines memorized in your head. First of every month at 6 p.m. That's like the main one. The MRF is what you're going to really focus on. And you just want to be really punctual so you don't ever hit a late deadline. So don't procrastinate on the MRF. Like I said before, don't wait until the last minute. I would definitely work on it throughout the month, especially after you have a service project or event where you can just fill it out straight away. Ask fellow officers and LTGs for clarification information. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Especially as a Key Club officer and you're learning, it's never bad to ask for help. And you have a lot of resources that are not only your advisors, but me, your current Lieutenant Governor, or mailing your upcoming Lieutenant Governor, or other officers in your position. MRFs can be updated anytime, even past months. So if you find an error in past months, don't be afraid to go back and say, hey, I need to fix this. And then you fix it and tell your LTG that you fixed it. And have backup. So you will be sending this every month, and you will have a file on your email, but you want to have a flash drive, maybe a hard drive, save in multiple places, and even a Google Drive, so you can be sure you can access this as soon as whenever you need it. If in the tragic event that everything dies or something like that, you'll be fine. Because this is a lot of work that you're going to go through, and in the later months, it's going to have a lot of different hours of work into it, and you do not want to lose this. And be on time to qualify for awards and recognition. So being on time, send your MRF on time. This is how you qualify for recognition. You cannot send your MRFs in late and expect to be recognized at the end of the term. So be the perfect secretary and send everything 2 days in advance. That's what I suggest, 48 hours. Oh, the music's still so soothing. Okay, so resources. So on the cyber key, on the CNH cyber key, we have a lot of different resources for the secretary. So you have the secretary's manual, duties of club secretary, and you can find more things at cnhkeyclub.com/officers/secretaries. So if you go on the cyber key and then you look at the members tab, they show a little area that says officers and it says secretaries. You may want to look there. Also, there's where you can find the current MRF file. So if you want to look into that, I would definitely do that as soon as possible so you can get familiar with the file, which we'll be talking about soon. And Key Club International has some more resources, but I would definitely suggest going to CNH Cyber Key because it's more specific to us. Secretary's Google Reflector is kind of like this email group utilized by the district to kind of send out information, communicate with Secretary. So if you have any questions that you'd like to ask people from other cities within the state or in Nevada or Hawaii, then you could use this to kind of ask general questions. And be sure to always reach out to your advisors, lieutenant governors, and executive officers because they're there to help you. Okay. Now's the time before we go to the MRF that if you have any questions, be sure to ask them. Oh no. Okay, so for all awards and contests, does anything such as hours DCM participated carry over the next year, or does it start the year with a clean slate? That's a very good. Andrew was like king of asking good questions. I love Andrew. He asks so many good questions. So they do start with a new term. So starting in April, you will have a clean slate. You will have attended 0 DCMs in that term. So it's for that term specifically. So starting April 10th is when all the recognition stuff comes into play. So like attending OTC, if you attended last year, it doesn't count for this year. You're going to need to attend this year's OTC or this year's RTC and things like that. Like Andrew. He's cool. Questions. Vincent Wong comment on my post. What did Vincent Wong say? Yutan, why Yutan? I'm digging this music. I'm digging it. Okay, so let's move on, I guess. Let's see. Okay. Gotta reset the little thing a bit. Let's go over the MRF. This should be terribly fun. Add source. Okay, right there. Let's see how this works out. Perfect! Oh no. Oh god. Move. Add source. Oh god, I'm huge. Okay, adding source. Okay, cool. So I hope you guys can read this once it enlarges a bit, and we're gonna go over it. So, like I said, you can find this on the CNH CyberKey in the members section. Let's see. Oh, Haley asked. Oh, okay. I'll answer in a second. So you can find this this file on the CNH CyberKey in members, then officers, secretary, and then it has the form down there. So if you want to take a look, definitely feel free. It's good to follow along. So Haley asked, can members still pay dues after the December deadline? So you can pay dues at any time during the term. Like there's no time where member recruitment stops. So if you pay your dues after December 1st and you've already paid dues, do the same exact process. Just add them to the member update center, which the treasurer should know more about, and just add them to your roster. And then their hours can count and stuff like that. As a club, you could definitely send them after December 1st, but you may not be in good standing. So it's very important that you get in before December 1st. Okay, so this is the instruction page. basically telling you how to fill out the MRF and what to do on each one, and it's very important to read through all of this. Before we get into the MRF, one thing I want to say that I wish I would have said to my secretaries this term: read everything on the MRF. Don't skim. Read everything. Don't skim. Read everything. Everything on the MRF is important, and a lot of times you'll hear secretaries saying that MRF is very hard or it's very confusing. It's not. Being a secretary is not a hard job. You can do it. I believe in you. Because there's a lot of things in here that people don't understand just because they don't read it, or they're too lazy to kind of understand it. So be sure to read every single tab on the MRF, and that's very, very important. Okay, let's start with task 1. Okay, so task 1, you're gonna be this is where you want to start at the very beginning when you get your MRF file. So you're gonna have information like your what term it is, what your club name is, what your club number is, which you can access from your lieutenant governor or your current secretary, and you can find your region number, which we're region 9 and division 2. Okay, so you're gonna put your school address, city, things like that. Club information is very, very simple, and you can do that on your own. So here's where you're going to put the names of each of your advisors and your officers, like president, secretary, editors, vice president, treasurer, etc. And it says like general questions down here. Pretty easy. You just click them and then there's a drop down box that says yes or no. So do you currently have a member serving as a district officer or committee member? This includes division lieutenant governor. So if you have a lieutenant governor in your division, like Cache Valley will, if you have a district chair position, or you have a district coordinator position, or a district executive for a chance, then you're gonna put yes there. Do you currently have a member serving as international officer or committee member? So if anyone serves at the international level, which is highly unlikely from our division because like that's very, very high up there, then you would put the yes there. Does your Kiwanis sponsor fulfill the obligations to sponsorship? Are you connected with your sponsor in Kiwanis Club? So for the most part, you're gonna put yes in this tab because hopefully you'll be in good connection with a lot of your Kiwanis sponsorships. And is your club a co-sponsor of Builders Club or K-Kids? So within Division 2, we don't have any Builders Club or K-Kids Club, which is kind of like the kid versions, like the elementary school and middle school versions of Key Club. So official membership, so you're going to be able to find the membership numbers, how many members are within your club inside your old MRF and things like that. And as the term goes on, you want to add to this information and make sure it gets reflected accurately. So be sure to read everything because this is important. If you have any questions, ask someone. If you have questions about anything you read, ask someone. Simple as that. Okay. Club roster directory. So this is kind of the more tedious part where you may want the members' help with, but you're going to be inputting a lot of people's names down here. Say like Tang Calvin. And my position is Lieutenant Governor. My email is do2.cnhkc.ltg@gmail.com. So it's just things like that. Little tedious, like it may take a little time, but it is at the very beginning. So be sure to do this as soon as you can. Preferred phone, blah blah blah. Committee, if they're on any, like service committee, things like that. And graduation year, mine is 2016. Member ID, I don't remember mine. Mailing address, things like that. So and paid, and then you're gonna want to go. I think you just say yes. So things like that. You just want to keep track of your membership here. This is where the membership record goes, and then I'll show you guys later that where this gets transferred to. So it's very important. And you put advisor information up here and things like that. And you can always add tabs to this. That's the most important part. They give you some instructions up here. That's good too. Okay. Service record. Okay, so like we mentioned before, it's an auto transfer tab. So that means my name got transferred here already. And look, it says my dues are already paid. So that's very good. So that means my name's already here. It's already being recorded. And then when I have an event, which I can put here, like blah blah blah, this is the event that happened. And then I can put like, oh, I got hours for this. And then down here, I put, well, actually down here you put when the date was. So it's like 3-16. And then here I got 4 hours or something, and this I don't know, the secretary workshop, I don't know. Okay, so you just put it there, and then it automatically transfers like that, and you can say I got 4 hours, and then I have 4 service hours here. So very important to do this after every single event. Use this to record your hours, but you may want to use it as well on Google Sheets. So do whatever's comfortable for you, but be sure no matter what to update this tab as your club secretary. Questions? After you send in dues for the first time before 21, okay, as many times you want. Yeah, same thing, yeah. Member recognition program. So this is what we were talking about earlier, and this is where we're going to get into now. So like I mentioned before, auto transfer. See how my name's here? I pay dues, yes. These are my service hours already. I already served 4 service hours because I put in the service record tab. So that's why it's important to record service hour tabs. Record service hours in this respective tab. And here it'll give you a bunch of criteria for the kind of like what you did during your thing, or during your term. So training events, say I went to like 2. And like Kiwanis family events, I went to like say 3 Kiwanis events. And like inter clubs, say I went to 4 inter club events. So things like that. Throughout the term, you want to update this as soon as it happens. So that's why you want to make sure like division events. If they went to DCM, then they should check in with you. If they went to DWS, they should check in with you, and you should record their data on this tab. And district events, if they went to like DCon, Fall Rally North, things like that, record them. International events like Icon, it can happen sometimes, but that's like something to look out for. Articles and visuals submitted. So if they submitted articles and visuals, then you should record them there. And things like that. So you just look through the rest of the requirements and make sure that you understand them and you can utilize them all. And club elections. So this is the election. This is kind of the election page. So once you finish your elections, you want to put the information of your officers here. So like president. So say the president is Calvin Tang because I'm so cool. Grad year. You're gonna put let's say like 2016, email, blah blah blah, preferred phone, blah blah blah. So vice president, this is a little bit different where it says focus area. So you have many different ones where it's like, oh, also someone asked us in the vice president workshop yesterday. So administrative, community services, executive, Kiwanis relations, blah blah blah. So different vice presidents can have different focus areas, and you want to reflect that in your officer. So this is basically where you put all the officer information. That's what's important. Annual report. So this is what I mentioned earlier, is how when you do everything in your MRF, it's going to add up here, and later on you're going to have an AAR score down here. And this is what you're going to be looking at. It's 0 right now because nothing's been done to the MRF, but as you fill out, you'll have a higher score. And project list. So when you have a specific service project, you want to put it here. Or actually, I think this is auto transfer. This just should be auto transfer. Yeah, so these will be auto transferred from month to month. So if you have certain projects within your monthly tabs, then they will show up here, and then they will come here, and then you can reflect on them later. And it says how many service hours you've had for them, how many members you get from each. That from the monthly tab, which we'll get to next. So the monthly tab, this is an important one. This could look really intimidating. I know it can. And I look at it all the time. Okay, so let's go through it. So a lot of this will come from earlier tabs, like up here is all the information will automatically transfer. Up here, membership status will automatically transfer. And all the stuff you've seen before, you answered earlier, so that should be good. Okay. So in this area, this is where we want to focus on first. Okay, so general meeting. So if you hold general meetings during your term, you want to put them down here. You say, if you had a meeting, you say yes or no, or what date it was on. That's the important part, like saying, oh, what date do we have this meeting on? So it applies for all of them right there, drop down boxes. How many members are present? So right here, you want to take roll out of, take a head count at your meetings and make sure that it lines up here. And you say like, oh, we had 100 members at our meeting. Faculty president, if you have like faculty advisors come to your meetings, say yes. Kiwanis president, sometimes that happens, especially if your Kiwanis advisors work at your Kiwanis, if your school. You not just say, you know, if yes, say yes. Guest president, so if you have guest speakers or anything like that, say yes. Program speaker, same thing. Interclub, if you worked with other Kiwanis family clubs or other things like that, then you can put it there. And if you have board meetings, you can put the dates here. So that you should be having board meetings either weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly within your club. So be sure to record them there. If you go to Kiwanis meeting, be sure to record it down here. Same thing, or DCM. And then if you have members present, just say yes or no. Simple as that. So this is the meeting section. This is important because it will reflect on your progress as a secretary at each month. Okay, so down over here is the division or region section. So if you communicate with your LTG, which you should be doing, just say phone, or if you communicate with them, say phone, say electronic mail. Typically, it's going to be in person or electronic or all methods, things like that. So that's something very good to think about. Division council meeting. If your club attended, just say, if your club attended, which most clubs will, just say yes and say how many members attended, like 20. If you have a Kiwanis division meeting, so sometimes Kiwanis DCMs happen and the LTG can let you know. And if your club attends them, just say yes or no and then say how many members. Region meeting and event. So if you go to RTC or something like that, or on the chance that we have a region event, then you can put yes and then how many members went there. Same applies for all of this. Office training conference, president and secretary at training conference, advisor training conference, leadership training conference, and region training conference. So things like that, just you can report them there. Special events. So fall rallies here, you guys all know that. Just say how many people went and if advisors went, yes or no. If there's a banquet, our banquet's coming up in probably April or May, so take a look out for that, and then we'll be playing that soon. So Kiwanis special function. So if Kiwanis is having a special event that they invite you to, this is something you may want to put there. If anyone's going to Key Leader, then you can put it here. Division Conclave, which happens in January. If you have your club attend, then put yes or no, and then blah blah blah. CNH convention, KCI convention. So that's kind of complicated. It's just mostly data, and the best thing you do is just read every tab. I cannot iterate that enough. Just read every single tab. Do we have any questions? This is like a lot of droning on. Okay, project list is auto. Oh yeah, so project list doesn't auto transfer if you have to input the events again. So that's important to know. And you guys will get to know this a lot better when you read it yourself. That's an important thing. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Be sure. Okay, so moving on to the project section. So this is where you're gonna be putting your projects, which is including like your service projects and your fundraisers. So say like we had a beach cleanup. So that's where you put the title. Say how many total member hours. So say like how many hours there are. I think. Let me see. Let me see if this works. So say we had 8 members there. That should add up to 32. Let me see. Oh no. Okay, so say the event was 4 hours, right? And you had 8 members attend. That means the total member hours, so you want to do 8 times 4, and that's 32. So that's how many hours there were per event. And over here is if it's a service event, then you want to put what kind of service event it was. So if this is just a service project, that's what this is. I want to put an X there. It says mark X for all categories that apply. Project benefits club. No, it doesn't because you're benefiting someone else. Ongoing project, maybe it's a monthly thing. So yeah, you could say that. It's not a division project because it's not a DCM or DWS, not a district project, not a governor project / focus. Project or other organization. More than likely with a beach cleanup it probably will be. Major emphasis focus, more than likely not unless it's like during summer. You just have to, it's more specific about that. Project with Kiwanis sponsor. Say you're participating in Kiwanis, things like that. And then joint project hosted with Kiwanis. Sure, yeah, you can host it. No, actually in this case, no. Project Kiwanis family member. So say a Kiwanis helps you out, like an advisor comes out, so you can put it there. And foundation project. So it will not be a foundation project. Okay. And say over here we have a boba sale. And say you're rewarding hours for this. So say you have 12. You have 12 members that go, and 2 hours for the boba sale. So 24 hours. So this is going to be a fundraiser. So you want to say like fundraiser down here. And then you want to say funds raised for service. So say we raise $150. So you're just going to want to put $150. And then it comes out to be $150. And let's say we have a decon bake sale. Okay, so you go over here again, or let's just 1224 again. Okay, so it's a fundraiser as well. And instead of funds raised for service, which is like Preferred Charities, Project Eliminate, Pediatric Trauma Program, put it over here. Used for club funds, because that's what you're benefiting for. You're using it for clubs funds to fundraise for the members you serve. So say you raise $200, or that's 2,000. Oh god. And funds spent on projects. If you spend any money like preparing for this, then definitely put it here how much you spent. Okay, so moving on, that's the club project section. So here's the club snapshot. This is very, very important. I cannot stress this. So the club snapshot is where you tell your lieutenant governor what you've done this month, the progress you've made, what events you participated in, how things went, who your member of the month was, anything you want. So it's basically showing your progress. So this is where you just write an essay about how you're doing, so your lieutenant governor can help you more. And here, these will auto transfer from up here, saying like, oh, what the project was, how many hours you got, and who chairs it. So say like I planned this event, so I go here because I'm an officer. Whoever planned the event. And down here it says project description. You want to fill this in and say like we helped out at our local beach cleanup and worked with another organization. Okay, things like that. So like that's just the description of what the project is. Very simple. You want to include this in every single project you do. It is a blue MX switch. I enjoy my keyboard. Okay, so that's the project section. For each project you have, you should be able to fill this out. And at the bottom here, this is what your lieutenant governor will use So it reports all the data back, and you make sure it reflects what you've done. So like, say we have one service project. We did have one service project, and it says 150 here. It's correlating to how many funds you've raised for service. 150, 150, things like that. So it's very important. Okay, so that's the monthly tab. Do you guys have any questions whatsoever? It's crazy, so much. This is really complicated, so let me know if you guys have any questions. Like, this is a lot of stuff. This is a monthly tab. I'm glad the music's here. Cool. Okay, so let's move on. So the majority of these tabs are, as you may notice, like down here, it says March, April, May. These are all the same exact tab. Every single monthly tab is going to be the same. So these are just the monthly tabs, and you get to the end. So we reached the end of the MRF. So that's the MRF. Not that hard, right? It's just a lot of things that you're going to have to read. So when you get your MRF file, you just want to read it. That's all you want to do. Okay, so does anyone have any questions about the MRF in general? We covered all of it. That wasn't that hard. I feel like I'm just droning on. You guys are kind of like just kind of listening, but like getting kind of confused. I hope not. I hope I'm doing a better explanation of what you would get by just doing it. And be sure if you're like confused when you get this file, you can contact me or anyone you know that knows how to do the MRF. They can tell you, because the MRF is not hard as long as you read it. That's just what I can get across the most. It's just not hard if you understand like what it is. Okay, so let's move on. So I want to add the source of this source. Okay. Actually, we probably don't need to do this. We already went over it, so that's fine. Okay, so that's basically the end of the workshop. If you guys have any questions, ask me like now. Yeah, this is because we've reached the end of the workshop. We've talked about everything we need to. Because I was just about to go over distinguish, but we already went over that in the PowerPoint, so that's good. Just a lot of droning on. I don't know my phone. I wish yeah, see, Haley wish she had that when her term started. She did an amazing job too, because she reads everything. So I'm glad you guys are getting this to like get to know the MRF early, because that's what's really, really important. So it's good to know all this stuff. This music's so soothing. Let's see, I'll go till 56 if there aren't a lot of questions, because it didn't seem to be any questions at all. Please ask questions. This is a really confusing topic, and I want you guys to ask questions. JP, you know what? You suck. I just put it on the background, kind of as like a chill kind of thing, you know, set the vibe. But you know what? You suck, JP. This is a nice promposal. I'm watching a video. I'll wait till 56. Guys, ask questions. Hopefully this one will record too, because it may be a little extensive. This music's cool. I dig this. Okay, well, no questions, so I'm going to end this workshop right here. Thank you guys for attending. I hope you guys got a lot of it, and be sure to remember that you can ask questions at any time. Just be sure to contact me. I can answer any question you have about being secretary, because I love the secretary position, and I love working with secretaries. So if you have any question, feel free to email me or message me. It should be pretty easy. Bye, guys.